Hello and welcome back to the Research Reproducibility Project tutorial video series. So if you followed along with our last video, we just went over the XML extractor object and all of its methods. And so, like I said, we are moving on to the next object. Heading down is the article manager. So let's break open the terminal and take a look at the methods available to the article manager. So first thing we're going to do is import the article manager module, and then we're going to instantiate an instance of the article manager object. And the first method that we are going to take a look at in the article manager is called getArticlesXML. So, and what it takes as its parameter is a file. So here you can see here's the directory to my file sub pmcresult.xml, an XML file. Then it takes an identifier, so PMID, PubMed code, PMC, or DOI are likely the ones you're going to use, but you have a couple other options. And then a list of articles to return information for. So I'll show you the sub PMC result file. This is a text file that I got from the PMC site. It has all the information on a lot of articles. I think there's about 16 here in all, 350,000 lines, and at least 16 open access articles. And we can get a lot of information for the article. So here's a couple of the identifiers, but importantly, all of the text of the article. So here's the body of the article available in text format, so not you needing to use a PDF reader, and broken up excuse me, broken up by sections. So you can see, like, here's our abstract, the title or the introduction part of the abstract, methods, etc., all the way down. So all the article information in XML format, and like I talked about earlier, XML super easy for the computer to read. We can put our beautiful soup module to work and really extract the information from this article in a super easy format. So we'll get to the extraction itself a bit later, but the important method that the article manager takes care of is the getArticlesXML. So if we wanted to get the text for an article in the PMC result XML, this sub PMC result is just another file I created. The real PMC result XML file is about 9.5 million lines long. So in order to save us from not sitting here all day, I created a subset, which is about 350,000 lines, just for make it faster and easier. So we pull open that sub PMC result file, and we are going to get back all of the articles that have the PMID in the list that we give it. So if we wanted to give it, we'll start with one article, but if we wanted to give it another list, I don't know if that's actually a PMID in the sub PMC result, probably not, but that would be how if we wanted to extract multiple files. And then we're going to assign that into the GE object. So GE stands for generator, which is actually what this is right now. If you don't really have to know anything about generators, but basically the reason the design choice rationality on this is saving memory and also preventing doing a double nested for loop in the extraction. Saves a lot of time, saves a lot of memory. That's the important thing. So we have this generator object, and in order to get the actual article itself, we call the next method, or next function, taking in the generator's parameter, and now that's going to run for a little bit, extracting. So it's going to have to look through the sub PMC result.xml file and look for this article that matches this PMID code. So we can ourselves, while that's going, pull it up as well. So let's grab this PMID and head over to the sub. sub pmcresult.xml file, and here's the article. So this is what is going to get printed out in our terminal if it hasn't already. Yep, here it is. So here is all of the article information thrown on the terminal, and same information in this article. So in this case, like I said, we only had one article, but if we had another article to get the next article, we would call next the generator again. If I do that now, it's going to cause an error because there aren't any more, so I won't do that. But that's how you could extract the text from multiple articles within the XML file. So that about covers it for this method for the time being. We'll come back to this when we're doing the article extraction again during the XML article. So if I pull up the, we'll come back to that method when we're looking at the article extractor and the XML article. But for now, we'll set it aside. Keep in mind that that functionality is handled by the article manager. Moving on to the next method available to the article manager is entering information into the Redcap database. So, for example, before I do that, real quickly, let's pull up Redcap. And, oh, I have it open already. So, this record ID, this is just a dummy record ID that I use to prevent overwrite of the other record IDs that contain real or other article information. So, it's fine that I write and rewrite over this record ID as many times as I want. So, the article manager has a method called enter redcap, and enter redcap takes as its parameter a dictionary of the fields to enter of the format where the key is the Redcap codebook. So if we go, let me open another Redcap so that we can have the codebook open on the side. So remember when we looked at the codebook earlier for Redcap, it takes as its parameter the Redcap codebook key. So the key for the dictionary is the Redcap codebook key, and the value is the value that will be entered into Redcap. So we are going to enter into Redcap the author first name Johnny and the author last name Cash into the record ID 9B, etc. It's the same record ID that I have open right now. So I'll show you that real quickly. Let that run. So we get the return count 1, the number of records that were edited, and status success. And so let's pop open Redcap and see what we get. So you can see before, oh, I wonder if I can, oh, it won't let me. Sorry, I should have pointed out before, but before we had a different author first name and last name, and now we have Johnny and Cash. I can show you one more time just to validate that. Indeed, it is different. So now we have Johnny Cash. So it works. Anyway, couple other examples with the enter Redcap functionality. So Redcap, I talked earlier about the database manager has the get metadata method, if you remember, and I talked about how that would be important later. So here's an instance of when it's important. Redcap, for many of the fields, can only accept specific values. So for the publication date, it has to be a date of the format month, day, year. For author first name and last name, you can provide alpha characters only. For clinical domain, there's a list of finite options for that variable allowed. So you can see what options you have available to you. And what happens if we try to enter Redcap with an option that isn't allowed? So in the article manager, we call the enter Redcap method, takes as its parameter a dictionary with the key the Redcap codebook key, so you see clinical domain, and the value is the value to be entered into Redcap. So here I have cardiology, but cardiology isn't actually an option. You have 7 as an option, but not cardiology. So this is going to give an error. And the article title is Lions Have Big Hearts. So that's probably about cardiology, right? So let's see what happens if we run this method. We get some error messages. Redcap entry failed on field clinical domain because the value is not a valid category for clinical domain. Retrying entry without that field. Count how many records were edited and status success. So let's pull open Redcap again. We see for before, for this article, the clinical domain was neurology. Now, if we refresh, oh, sorry, it's still going to be neurology because that failed. But for article title, we have Lions Have Big Hearts. And you can see, yeah, so the article title is Lions Have Big Hearts. The other cool thing about that is again, this error gets recorded in the database. So I'm going to have to go find the errors.db file, and you can see there's another entry. So we have the record ID, the record ID that we attempted to enter in. We attempted to call the enter Redcap method, enter into that record. The object that called it was the article manager. The field was clinical domain, value cardiology, and this value is not a valid category for clinical domain. So if you see this error pop up, come back later and you can see that, okay, someone tried to put the clinical domain as cardiology. They probably meant to put it as 7, and we can just in Redcap throw in cardiology and save it, and that way you can record. We have all the error information recorded for you to manage later, but the program continues running and won't force quit. And also Redcap entry will continue with all of the rest of the fields. So like I said, Redcap entry failed on clinical domain, but it still entered the article title, Lions Have Big Hearts, into the record ID. So that just about takes care of that. If it happens to be that there's only one, so we just remove the article title, there's only one key value pair in the dictionary, and it fails, then we see count return 0, status fail, because no Redcap entries were edited. So moving on, we're going to instantiate another instance of the article manager object, and this time we're going to take a key word parameter as run style. This is going to reoccur a couple times through the rest of the tutorial, but run style tells the object what kind of user interaction it should have. So run style of 0 says that I want to interact with the user. I want the user to validate every field before it's verified, and I want to ask the user for input. By default, run style is set to 1, which means run by yourself. It just tells the article manager, don't ask for user input, give it your best guess, try your best, and just record all the information for the user to refer to later. So if we can see the difference, if we instantiate this new article manager object, and so let's run article manager, enter into Redcap just to show you. For working Redcap entries, we'll get the same thing. So remember our author, right? Or author first and last name is Johnny Cash right now. But we do enter Redcap of author first name Bruce, author last name Willis into the record ID, and count 1. So 1 record was edited, status is a success. Let's pull up Redcap and verify that that's true. And look, Bruce Willis wrote this article. That's awesome. So now the interesting part comes when errors occur. So let's run this So in the article manager, running the enter Redcap method, taking in as its parameter a dictionary, here we have author first name, the Green Goblin, and so this is going to throw an error because author first name, as you can see in the Redcap code book, is only allowed to have alpha characters. So spaces, numbers, dollar signs, etc. aren't allowed. So that this author first name is going to error out. And then our author's email is bluegoblins@greenmail.com. And we're going to enter that information into this record ID. So let's take a look. Redcap entry failed on field author first name because the value cannot be validated. Would you like to edit the field author first name? If yes, type yes. Otherwise, press enter. So let's edit it. And let's say, okay, we realize that the author is actually supposed to be the Green Goblin. All one word. So it retries with the new entry, the Green Goblin. And let's take a look at Redcap and see how we did. Corresponding author first name, the Green Goblin. Corresponding author email, bluegoblinsuck@gmail.com. So you can see you have some options to validate, or to, when we give it this run style method of run style keyword argument of 0, the program will prompt the user for direction when errors occur or when it's not sure what to do, and for validation for extraction, which will be coming in the article extractor soon. So hold on to that thought. Great, so that just about wraps up the article manager. That's all the important methods relevant to use in the article manager. So like I said, you can enter fields into Redcap and read the XML. Read the XML from the PMC result XML article. It also is going to manage, it will manage a lot more user interaction. That will become a lot clearer when we start working through the article extractor methods. So hang tight on that and join us next time as we go in our next object down the list, the article extractor, and start working our way through its methods. And that'll be coming your way shortly. Thanks.